Hello, I'm Larry Meisel, and welcome to Confidence on Camera, a channel for new YouTubers trying to overcome the awkwardness, self-consciousness, hesitations that go along with sitting in a quiet room by yourself, looking into a camera lens, and learning to make it seem that you're having a friendly, enjoyable conversation with 1,000 or so of your imaginary friends. In this video, I'm going to talk about my thoughts and feelings toward the Ukraine-Russian war that continues to drag on and the recent horrific, monstrous events in Israel perpetrated by a terrorist government in the Gaza Strip. So before the invasion of Hamas into Israel, support for Ukraine was beginning to soften among especially the Republican conservatives in the House of Representatives. President Zelensky of Ukraine came and spoke with leading members of Congress, but was not invited to give an address to the Congress. It seemed that the overhyped, exaggerated expectations for summer offensive were not meeting expectations, or the summer offensive was not meeting the expectations of the overhyped, were not meeting the expectations of the overhyped expectations. That's a horrible sentence, but I think you know what I mean. And on Monday the 15th, there was an article in the New York Times speculating about how the atrocities being committed in Israel might dilute attention and support away from the war between Russia and Ukraine. And in today's New York Times, at least the online version, I scanned through all of the headlines. There were numerous stories about the war, Israeli and Hamas war. There was only one story about the war in Ukraine, which had to do with increased efforts by Russia to try to regain the initiative. After World War II, there was a new world order established. And what that phrase referred to was that taking territory of another country through military force is a violation of international law. And the Russians had control of a large portion of eastern Ukraine. And then in February 22, they tried to take control of the entire country through a massive invasion from multiple points of attack. It was followed by a summer offensive that regained a lot of the territory that the Russians had tried to acquire. And it created an overly optimistic expectation, I think, that with enough military um, aid and ammunition and weaponry, that there could be that rapid progress could be resumed after the winter when temperatures moderated and the spring in the spring. So the spring has come and gone and the summer has come and gone, and now it's fall and winter is approaching, and there's pretty much a stalemate in Ukraine. And again, in the late summer, August and September, talk was beginning to emerge that support for a military victory in Ukraine was softening and would probably devolve into pressuring Ukraine to accept an armistice settlement similar to the armistice in Korea. And we all know how well that's working out. So I am strongly opposed to military force, but I'm also strongly opposed to allowing Russia to succeed in gaining territory through military force. It's too much like the appeasement of Hitler, allowing for annexation of the Sudetenland, which led to invasion of Poland, which led to World War II. I think that we've seen this movie before and we know how it ends. So both the military force by Hamas in Israel and the military force by Russia in Ukraine cannot be allowed to stand. Unfortunately, the chaos in Congress, the absence of a speaker in the House, the inability of Congress to take any action on the national debt, on support for Ukraine, support for Israel. It seems to me that there's one glimmer of hope that aid to Ukraine and aid to Israel will be bundled together along with increased support for Taiwan to deter military aggression as a means of advancing political ambitions or expanding territory. As a person who filed a successful claim as a conscientious objector and served 2 years of alternate civilian service during the Vietnam War, I continue to wish that we had alternatives. I continue to wish that we had as robust and influential a State Department as we have a lethal military. Idealistically, unrealistically perhaps, but idealistically, I wonder how it would be if we had millions of State Department diplomats as we have millions of military personnel. How much could be accomplished? How much suffering and death could be avoided? How many atrocities could be prevented? If we could bring moral persuasion to bear and impact world opinion. Something to think about. I'd appreciate any comments you have about this issue. I appreciate any suggestions and constructive criticism you might have for how I can improve my performance on camera, because this channel is an auxiliary channel for my main channel, which is called The Examined Life. I want to develop that channel as a place for people interested in the civil discussion of current events, ideas, and issues, from the tremendously important to hopefully the trivial and entertaining and interesting. My long-term major goal for The Examined Life is to become monetized on YouTube and then use the proceeds to be donated, 90% of the proceeds to be donated to Doctors Without Borders, Feeding America, Amnesty International, and a world poverty and hunger relief organization called Oxfam. And if you'd like to help me donate to those charities before monetization of the channel, I have a Patreon page. I'll put a link for all of these things in the description section of this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll be recording another video tomorrow because this is day 25, day 26, I forget, of a 30-day challenge that I've given myself to record, to be at least 90% successful and record at least 27 videos in 30 days. If I'm successful, I'm going to invest some money in new equipment for the channel. If I'm not successful, I have to donate $25 to Donald Trump's presidential campaign. A horribly excruciating punishment for myself. So the stakes are really high. I'll look forward to your comments. I'll look forward to seeing you again in the next video tomorrow. Bye-bye.